Welcome back to Court TV Live. A California woman scheduled to appear in court today after being accused of faking her own abduction and costing the public hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sherri Papini vanished in November of 2016, sparking a massive search. This mother of two turned up 3 weeks later, claiming she had been beaten, kidnapped, and branded. The Justice Department says she made it all up. Well, she was arrested last Thursday, charged with making false statements to law enforcement and mail fraud. A judge will rule on whether to keep her detained during a preliminary hearing today. Now, the story of Sherri Papini's alleged scam made headlines all around the nation and really beyond. Court TV's Vinny Politan has more on the story.
We are ecstatic to report that Sherri Papini has been located and has been reunited with her family on this day of Thanksgiving. At about 4:30 this morning, the Shasta County Sheriff's Office was notified that Sherri had been located. We've also learned that Sherri was released by her captor on a rural road near Interstate 5 in Yolo County. She was bound with restraints, but was able to summon help from a passing motorist who then notified law enforcement.
That was a 2016 press conference from the Shasta County Sheriff reporting to the public that 34-year-old missing woman Sherri Papini was safely back home with her family after a weeks-long search of California and surrounding states. Sherri was found with multiple injuries, bindings on her body, and a brand mark on her right shoulder, and her long blonde hair had been cut. Sherri told authorities that she had been kidnapped at gunpoint by two Hispanic women and provided descriptions for an FBI sketch artist. After Sherri resurfaced, her husband Keith spoke to ABC News, holding back tears as he described being reunited with his wife after this entire ordeal.
Just ran past everybody and I, throw open the curtain and she was there. In a bed, in her poor face. And I just hugged her, I just held her.
Since Sherri's story came out, many people questioned if such a wild tale could be true. And now, authorities have announced it was not. More than 5 years after Sherri's alleged kidnapping, she's been arrested on charges of lying to federal agents and defrauding the state. Authorities say that during the time Sherri was being held by her captors, she was really staying with a former boyfriend nearly 600 miles away from her home in Orange County, and injured herself to back up the story about the kidnapping. The mail fraud charges stem from Papini being reimbursed more than $30,000 by the California Victims' Compensation Board. The money was meant for therapy to treat PTSD from the alleged kidnapping, as well as the ambulance ride to the hospital after she escaped. The fraud charges carry a penalty of up to 20 years in prison, and the charge of lying to a federal agent has a maximum 5-year sentence.
Okay, so still with us, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani and criminal defense attorney Tamara A. Walker joining us. I mean, Tamara, just how elaborate this alleged scam is. I mean, it's really shocking, right?
Absolutely. And I think someone in the clip said, Gone Girl. That's the comparison if anyone's seen that movie. It is definitely an elaborate scheme if all she wanted to do is go and shack up with an ex for a few days.
Yeah, and her family released a statement shortly after all of this, and yeah, here we have it on our screen. We love Sherri. We're appalled by the way in which law enforcement ambushed her Thursday afternoon in a dramatic and unnecessary manner in front of her children. Obviously, Thursday is when she was arrested and charged with making the false statements to law enforcement and also mail fraud. The family is appalled by this. What's your reaction to their reaction, Nima?
Well, the prosecutor in me says, I'm appalled at Papini for this really shameful scheme. She leaves her kids in daycare. She leaves her husband and is hanging out with her ex-boyfriend in Orange County, where I was raised. And look, I mean, talk about hundreds of thousands of hours of law enforcement, thousands of hours of law enforcement time, hundreds of thousand hours of actual wages for those law enforcement that could actually be used to solve real crimes. And not only did she defraud the victim compensation fund, I can tell you there's not a lot of money there for victims here in California. It's certainly not an unlimited pool. She even started a GoFundMe and pocketed that money. So we're talking about one of the biggest scammers since the Tindler swindler. So I don't think she has any reason or her family to be appalled in this case. And really, they should be appalled at her behavior, her husband and her children.
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous, you know, these allegations and this, I guess, alleged story that she made up, according to authorities. In fact, I want to pop up some of it, the criminal complaint. So DNA on Papini's underwear linked through familial search to a relative of her ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend's brother's social media pages featured a table similar to the table Papini described to law enforcement in August of 2017 as the table her abductor strapped her to and branded her on. FBI special agents collected discarded items from the trash can outside her ex-boyfriend's residence. DNA matched DNA from clothing, and there's more here to this criminal complaint. It's pretty detailed. August 10th, 2020, investigators interviewed the ex-boyfriend. He admitted he helped Papini run away. He said Papini told him that her husband was beating and raping her and she was trying to escape. Said that Papini sent him a care package that included the location where she wanted him to pick her up. You know, the ex-boyfriend said Papini chopped her own hairs and was purposefully trying to lose weight while staying with him. Ex-boyfriend explained that she injured herself, including hitting herself to create bruises and burning herself on her arms. And this ex-boyfriend also said Papini asked him to brand her right shoulder. And he did that as part of this elaborate scheme. Tamara, I mean, hearing all these details, what is this going to do to her case? And of course, you know, she's being detained right now, but she doesn't want to be, and that's what her attorneys are working on today.
Well, absolutely. You know, as a former prosecutor, you've got to look at this whole thing as a complete travesty, from the fact that she even launched this scheme to the fact that her ex-boyfriend cooperated so fully. I mean, he actually branded her. That defies logic. And you can only imagine the anguish that her family, friends, and loved ones went through, particularly her children and her husband, as been stated before. So I think that she's got some big issues here. There is, you know, all the things that jurors like to see. You've got DNA, you've got, you know, the sexy CSI type of things. You've got details from the ex-boyfriend, so you've got a little sex tied in here. So I think that this looks to be a pretty strong case from the prosecution standpoint, but, you know, there's always the chance for the defense to make things look a little different.
Yeah, and Nima, I mean, I appreciate that you're also in California, the state where all of this has unfolded and is unfolding. You know, false statements to law enforcement and mail fraud, pretty serious offenses. Any ideas what kind of the sentencing range would be for convictions on those?
Yeah, very serious. And when you're talking about the federal sentencing guidelines and, you know, 2B 1.1, don't want to get in the weeds, but you're looking at years in federal prison for something like this, because really it's based on the amount of the fraud. So that's going to be a significant upward enhancement there. And one important point, Joy, that we need to talk about is the race baiting here. We're talking about a white woman who claims that she was abducted by two Spanish-speaking women at gunpoint. Obviously, none of that was true. But I mean, the last thing we need for race relations in this country is a false claim like that. Really shameful and disappointing.
Absolutely, 100%.